Hello, thank you for joining me. It's Tuesday the 19th of September and I have a 2-card tarot reading for you. So let's see what comes out and what message we get today. Okay, right. Okay, we've got a couple of swords cards today. We've got the Knight of Swords and we've got the Seven of Swords. And I'm quite taken that these two are going the same way, but one's looking ahead and charging and the other one's looking behind, isn't it? And kind of working out what's going on. In fact, if you look at both of these cards and imagined a scenario for your head, out of your mind as to what's actually happening in these pictures, you could come up with all different ideas, couldn't you? This person can seem courageous and brave, or they can seem a bit reckless, or a bit impulsive. I always laugh at the the horse's face then. He's like, really? We're really doing this? So, yeah, depending on your point of view, you can say that this Knight of Swords is a blessing that's coming to help you, or could be creating havoc. And it's the same with this guy, isn't it? What actually is going on in this picture? Why is he facing that way and looking back? What's he looking back? Is somebody chasing him, or has he got away with something? Has he stolen those swords? Is he picking them up because they belong to him? Someone's taken them away from him. Why are these two here? There's so many questions surrounding these two cards. And we could do that with pretty much any tarot card, really. But I do feel these two particularly give us lots of conflicting messages and ideas. And hey ho, you know what? That's the whole point, isn't it? They're both to do with swords. They're both to do with our mind and our thought processes. And that's pretty much one of the downsides to both of these cards. We don't know the big picture. We don't know what's going on around these cards. So we're having to make a lot of assumptions, and they don't always go too well. So that's why I feel today our message is about making assumptions and how we can get ourselves in all sorts of trouble and charge into situations that perhaps we shouldn't have, maybe we should have waited, or, thought something was going to happen and it didn't, or vice versa, thought something wasn't going to happen and it did. So there's lots of things about, I feel, making absolutely sure that you've got the right information before you make a move. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, our communication is obviously key here. And I do feel that one of the wonderful things about the Knight of Swords is he does sort of stand up for what he believes in. But, can he browbeat other people with his opinion as he's shouting them down? Maybe, maybe not. We've got to get that balance in our communication. And I don't feel with this card particularly that shows a balanced communication, does it? You can't communicate effectively when you're in that kind of position. Neither can you here, because he's not really concentrating on where he's going and what he's doing, because he's too busy looking behind him. There's too much going on, isn't there? It's just too much going on. And maybe you'll find that today. Maybe you'll find that your mind is in 6 different places and you're having to make decisions and you can't focus, or you can't quite work out what's happening, or you might need a little bit of quiet time just to get your mind in order. So I feel like there's so many different scenarios that we could find ourselves in this Knight of Swords or Seven of Swords situation. It could even be somebody comes into our life and he's suddenly this Knight of Swords and you're like, please stop. You get that, don't you? You might come in from work, you've had a lovely day, and one of your kids or your parent or somebody's had a terrible day and they're just like at you, and you're like, oh, didn't expect that. We all do it, don't we? There's no judgment here, but sometimes we're the knight and sometimes the knight is somebody else. So I would say be aware of your own communication, be aware about making assumptions, or whether people are making assumptions about you, and if it's worth actually correcting them or just letting them get on with it. Because sometimes we don't need to go into battle. Sometimes we can just go, oh, okay, yeah, if that's what you thought, whatever. We don't always have to be charging and putting everybody right. So, wow, there's lots to think about there, which I guess is why we've had 2 swords cards come out. I can give you plenty of different scenarios as to how these might play out in your life, but I guess each person is different and they're gonna come up in different ways. But I do feel the final message is just to maybe think before you speak, and don't let your mind or your ego or your assumptions run away with you. But clarity may not go amiss here today. Okay, so I hope that helped you. I'll be back again tomorrow with another reading. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and have a wonderful day no matter what happens. Okay, bye for now.